Hi everybody, this video is my story because I want to share with all of you kind of my life story. I'll try not to go into too many details, but just the important ones, because I'm a transformational coach and my story is very relevant to my coaching. And I think it's important for people to know, also just to give an example of what's possible for people. So, I don't know if it'll all fit in this video. Let's see. Maybe this will be part one. I'm on the beach in Amalfi, by the way, on the Amalfi Coast in Italy. I live here in a town called Ravello that's a little bit up the street. And I just did yoga here. I'll show you the beach. So, let's see. I was born in Marion, Ohio, and it was like a small little town. And my dad is and was a doctor, and my mom was like a kind of like a housewife at that time. And I lived there until I was 7. And I was born in 1980. And then my parents got a divorce, like, you know, so many of our parents, like probably most of our parents from my generation and maybe the generation after me and this generation. But I feel like I started to see like all of my friends' parents getting divorced, I remember, and I was so terrified. I was like, no, I never want that to happen to my parents. And I was so close to my father. Like, I was a total daddy's girl. I didn't really want anything to do with my mom. I just wanted to be around my dad. And I was like really a tomboy, and I wanted to do all the things my dad did. And so then one day, my mom took my sister and I to my dad's doctor office, and they sat us down and they told us that they were getting a divorce. And I remember that moment, and the pain in my heart was so intense that at 7 years old, I literally could not handle it. So I decided in a split second, some part of my mind decided, we're going to shut our hearts down now. We will not feel this pain. And we don't care. We're not going to feel it, and we don't care. And so, I don't feel that I had a conscious control over that decision. It just happened, I guess, as a defense mechanism. And I did that. And then I remember, telling my parents, I think, in that moment, okay, I don't care. My mom said, did we get the television? I just totally shut down any feelings. And then, I stayed that way. And so I had shut my heart down. And my little sister, who's 2 years younger than me, she was, crying a lot, and she would cry throughout the weeks because she was processing it, which in the end was better, but I didn't at all. And so it just festered, that wound. I guess it was my first abandonment wound by my father, by the masculine, you could say. If we want to look at it in a general healing kind of picture, and I work with a lot of trauma healing in my coaching, so I like to frame it that way a bit, because this is my story, but it's also the story of so many people, men and women, who have this abandonment wound from the father. And so I lived with that, and then when I was 13, it really started manifesting because I was so angry and rebellious, and I was so mad that I didn't live with my father anymore. We only saw him 3 times a year, and he had a new wife, and he had a new son, and I felt even more abandoned that he had this new family, and I was so angry. and I felt like I hated my mom, and I never wanted to live with my mom, and you know, she wasn't doing anything wrong. These were all just my natural progression of how I felt, and I never dealt with that pain, and my heart was shut down, and I became like a little asshole, kind of. I think I was so difficult. I was so difficult and mean and angry. And I tried smoking weed. I was 13. I tried smoking cigarettes. And now I'm living in Colorado Springs. And I told my cousin about this. And she decided to tell my mom. She was older than me. And she told my mom I tried smoking pot, and she also somehow added in a lot of other things that weren't true. I don't know why that happened, but anyway, so my mom knew about this, but I didn't know that she knew, really. Or maybe she had mentioned it to me, but I wasn't aware that it was a problem. And so one day, I was like, at Christmas, we would always go to visit my dad in Ohio. And we would stay with him for Christmas break, my sister and I. My sister is 2 years younger than me. I'm the oldest. And so we were there, and I was, 13. And I had just turned 13, I think. I had either just turned 13 or 14, and my dad said, your mom has decided that you're not coming back to live with her. You're going to stay here with me. She wanted to send you away to a boarding school, but I don't want you to go to a boarding school, so I'm going to have you stay here. And now my dad is with his third wife, and I'm like really not a fan. I'm nothing about her. I'm just angry. I'm jealous. I want my dad's love and attention for me. But it was like, this wound had been festering inside of me for so long because I never processed it. And then I was even more enraged. I was like so pissed. Like, okay, you already divorced, and now you're gonna like leave me like to live again. You're gonna rip me away from my whole life and make me stay here with my dad and my stepmom, and who I don't want to be with. And like, you know, didn't get to say goodbye to any of my friends. That I was separated from my sister, and so. And I understand that like my mother, she like didn't know, she felt like I was too much for her to handle, and so she made this decision, and she was doing the best that she could, but to me it was like a second abandonment wound. And I got even more angry. And my dad sent me to private school, and I was sent to lots of therapists who I refused to speak with because I was like, fuck all of you, I hate all of you, like you guys just like reject and abandon me over and over again. And so that from 13 until 15 I was at this private school, and I got like more and more into drugs. I totally like refused to obey the rules at the private school. I had all kinds of piercings. I refused to take them out. I just got more and more out of control. Because I felt like I wasn't accepted or loved for me, that I was just supposed to listen to these people's rules, and I didn't want to because I hated them, because they had ripped my life away from me multiple times at this point. And I'd always been very strong-willed, and I was really intolerant of being treated that way, and I was really, really mad. And I just got more and more into drug use, I think, to numb the pain, to help me feel confident, because I like hated myself so much, and I felt so rejected and dejected that drugs helped me kind of feel a little bit more confident. Certain ones like cocaine or ecstasy. And I got really into the rave scene, and it just got worse and worse. I mean, I started doing a lot of like ketamine, cocaine, ecstasy, acid. This is while I'm in high school in Ohio. I had a boyfriend who was in the rave scene, and he had all the drugs. And I would sneak out, and I would make up all kinds of lies to go to raves. And you know, I was basically completely out of control, and I wouldn't obey my father at all. And I felt like there was no reason that I should. I literally felt like there was no reason I should obey them, because they had betrayed me, and they didn't deserve my trust, and I was just going to do what I wanted now. That's how my mind was thinking. And I know that I was really challenging for them. And this video of my story is not about blaming them. It's about looking at the wounds that were caused, because a lot of us, again, as I'm saying, have different kinds of abandonment wounds. And I'm just wanting to explain how I created mine and how I have been healing mine, which we'll get to. So, yeah, getting worse and worse, worse and worse. Then one day my dad said, if I give you a drug test and it's positive, I'm gonna send you away. And I don't know, it's not that I didn't believe him, because my dad always did what he said. I don't know, I was in denial maybe. And so I went out one night, and I stayed out all night, and I did coke all night, and then I had a drug test. And I'm going to end this video here and leave you hanging, and you can find out what happened in my story, part 2. Thank you for watching.